30 in Newfoundland. Down.
Good day, everybody.
Nice.
See, Shane is here.
Welcome to Toque.
There's Shane.
Yeah, there's Shane. You know, why do you think I became friends with Shane in the first place? It's because he looks like Luke Skywalker.
He doesn't look like Mark Hamill. He looks like Skywalker.
It wasn't music. It wasn't hockey. It was Star Wars.
He looks like
90s. It was a little bit of hockey, though, right? Because he is a good hockey player.
No, yeah, I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, what did he play? Was he forward, defense? What was he?
Oh, no, he played out. He's pretty fast. He's like a forward kind of guy.
But you met at the rink, right, Corey? Like in Simi Valley?
We met at the rink in the dressing room, yeah. I mean...
Very Canadian.
We'd planned to meet in the dressing room, and then somebody came in, and I was by myself in the dressing room, and he looked at me. He's like, hey. I said, hey, are you Shane? He goes, no. Some other guy.
That's hilarious.
But, yeah.
Was it all Canadians, or was it just guys from California that got together?
People from... It was just like drop-in stick time, you know, like no goalies, no teams, just kind of skate around with a stick and puck, and maybe you can set up, you know, get some guys to play a game, but not guaranteed. So
neither of you actually played in any organized hockey situation, right?
I did when I was.
Oh,
I didn't get past like Pee Wee though. So
no, me neither. But yeah. But it was an organized, like, you know, like you had. I was going to call them rehearsals, which would be very.
In fact, we actually had body checking back in those days, even for little kids.
Yeah. Wow. My parents would be yelling at you like, "Don't play like a pussy. You're playing like a pussy. You're out there figure skating." Like, what the hell?
I wasn't allowed to play hockey because as music early on, playing piano, my parents were like, no, you know. So we always played at school, right? At the local rink outside. Yeah. Tons of boot hockey in front of the house with tennis balls. But then, I don't know why. My parents were like, but you can play football. So I ended up playing football for 2 years, which is way more dangerous.
You can get a concussion and neck trauma or something, but not not hockey. Dude, there's a great documentary. I think was I talking to you guys about this the other day. There's a series of documentaries on Netflix called Untold, and they're all like sports oriented, I think. And there's
Caitlyn Jenner has one, right?
Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner has one, and there's a few others. But there's a hockey one on there that is highly recommended. There's it's basically like a mafia. Italian mafia Sopranos type thing where the mob boss gave his son, you're the president of this hockey team in Connecticut. You know, 17-year-old kid is the president of this hockey team. And he turns it into this very successful borderline slap shot meets the WWF kind of style. Like just really goony and violent. And it's a great watch though. I would highly recommend watching it.
Amazing. I'll definitely check that out.
And as a, you know, because a lot of the guys on the team, they don't actually say where they're from, but that guy's Canadian. There's a French Canadian guy and a bunch of Canadian guys. But yeah, they're it's a lot of fun.
Checking it out for sure.
How was everybody's week? We weren't here last week, so we've had a couple
weren't,
weeks.
yeah. Everybody was busy. But
Corey was doing Kelly Clarkson again, the Kelly Clarkson show. Yeah. How'd that go? What were you doing?
Episode of Kelly Clarkson. Hasn't come out yet, though, so we'll let you know when I know.
Okay.
Corey, do you film like as usual? Because, you know, us guys that get to play on these shows, we kind of know they're usually during the day, but is her thing, is that what it is? Like you show up at 10 a.m. and then it airs?
10 a.m., I wish. 8:30 a.m.
Oh, really?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and then they usually film 2 shows in the same day.
I see. Wow. That's impressive.
And you were doing music stuff, right? Like another guest?
I was playing, so they're, actually, I shouldn't say until these things air because I don't even think her pilot is aired, but they're doing a new, every episode she sings a song like for a minute or whatever, right? And in the past, it's all been cover tunes and stuff. And so the same thing is happening now, except it's going to be some of her stuff from the past or original tunes once a month or something like that.
That's cool. Great.
Now, when did you...
I'll never be back again because I just relayed that information.
You blew it. They're watching this. So now, what years were you playing with Kelly proper in her band?
Oh my God! So 2005 in the spring until like 2015.
Oh wow, that long!
So yeah, quite a few years.
You were double dipping for all those years. Shania Kelly.
Well, Shania was kind of on hiatus for most of that. Like at least 10 years of that, Shania was on hiatus. So
she took a break for 10 years.
Yeah, you know, because the whole divorce happened, and she had to figure out how she's going to make music, not having her producer around and songwriting partner, and she did it all herself, which was cool.
Yeah.
So and then she got back, and we did the the first Vegas residency at Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
And that's when things got complicated. And for the first little while, it actually worked juggling both, and then eventually it wasn't working out anymore.
You were trying to do both gigs if possible.
Both Kelly and Shania, yeah.
You're living the lives of two men at the same time, which is always challenging. Yeah.
Well, this is what all of us Toque guys are good at. Is double dipping, juggling, multiple set lists, because
it's good when you can do it for sure.
That's why we get called, and we love Toque is my favorite band, and then all the other bands add up to the other things we do that keep us.
It's not easy. I mean, especially if there's multiple moving parts. It's one thing if you've learned, say, the Shania set, and that's the set. It's like it.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of know that, and then you can go do other things. But when it's like, if that's constantly changing, plus this is changing, and you're kind of like, what am I doing now?
So how many set lists have you played in the last week?
Well, I'm constantly changing.
Let's go through that really quick.
I did, the old Sinners guys finally did a reunion show on Saturday in Vegas, and that was fun.
Yeah.
But that's, largely it's most of my old songs, so it's kind of like those, I don't even really go over them, they're just kind of in here. And then we did Steven Adler the next night, which of course is a set list that has been sort of firmly established, and we just sort of play that. So, it's kind of like those are easy to pull off for me. The wild card for the Saturday show was that Rob, the drummer, was stuck in Louisiana because of Hurricane Ida. So we had Corky Gainsford, just magically appear. But that guy's a monster too, as far as like he knows stuff, and he just kind of like he's a one listen kind of guy, and it's not exactly like Rob would play it, but it's astounding how quickly he can just kind of pick something up.
So you did those two gigs, but you also, of course, we did Toque a couple of weeks ago. So really, that is 3 complete bodies of live.
And then there's Kiss Cruise talk coming up, and who knows what else. It's like, but that's it's okay when it's spaced out, and things are kind of like, you have to really kind of focus on the Kiss Cruise, and then it's sort of like, then it's gone for a year, and then you can focus on the things. So it's not easy. It's not easy. I can imagine jumping back and forth from Kelly Clarkson to Shania has to have tons of challenging, like, which one is this now? Am I playing fiddle in this song? Or
it's amazing how much we can fit into our heads, though, right?
It is.
Like, when you think about it, how do we do that?
I don't know. It's like you compartmentalize everything, and there is a really that sort of second that you walk off and you just kind of delete that file. It's kind of like, and it goes into some other place that sort of sits there, and you kind of have to go when, the day before you go to do it again, you're like, okay, let's refresh that and go, oh, okay. Yeah. And it is very strange.
That totally happens to me. Like, some people can retain it and then, just jump back in. But I sort of like, okay, I don't know this stuff anymore. It's gone. Right. And I've learned from that, because then when I have to do it again, I have to relearn everything, which is kind of.
Do you find that you actually like properly delete that information, or is it more like you kind of have to refresh, just kind of like. It
kind of comes back, but I do have to like relearn it. However, I've started to videotape my rehearsals.
That's always a good idea. Yeah.
When I have something that I'm like, I won't know how to do this like 3 months from now if I don't do it again. So then I rehearse it, and then I get it good, and then I videotape it, and then I have it to refer to later on, like, oh, okay, that's where I was in the neck, and
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah. For some reason, I'm not, I never got to the level of like Corey's ability as far as a player, but for whatever reason, my memory has always been strong. Like I will say it. I used to say, or I was saying not that long ago, how much it seems to get harder as you get older. But in reality, like even doing that Corey Taylor gig in 24 hours, it was like, there was a part of me that went like, well, I'm kind of almost up for the challenge of this more than anything else. Like, can I actually do this? You think you're so great? Let's see how great you are, sucker. And it was like,
well, there's your 4th set list you had to do, Todd.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the last month, really, you did 4 different gigs.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that was literally like sitting over here going through Toque music, because we were getting ready to go to Canada a while back. I'm going through Toque music, and I get a text from Zach saying, you know, red alert. You know, we need a, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, go see what your options are, and then circle back to me. And while they circled back, I just kind of listened to a few songs and thought, okay, yeah, I can do this. And when they circled back and it was like, we don't have any other options, I was like, well, I'm already like 3-4 songs in, so here we go. So, but that is, for whatever reason, my memory has always been pretty. I mean, it depends on the workload, and it depends what it is. Lyrics are always challenging, and those seem to get more challenging. I think that's
the hardest, and I commend you, Todd, because
it's the hardest of
are a whole other thing. Like, it's a next.
It's usually like, you know, as a drummer or a guitar player, it's kind of like, or whatever your instrument of choice is, it's like a song is sort of built around. There's this part that's sort of the verse, and it will repeat. And then there's the pre-chorus or whatever it is, and the chorus, and all these sections kind of repeat, you know. So you kind of, once you've kind of learned the first like minute of the song, you're kind of way ahead of the game, because it's going to repeat itself several times. And then, unless it's like a Rush song or something, then you're kind of, you know. But even that, it's like a lot of that stuff. If you grew up on that stuff, you see those guys in the audience who aren't even really drummers at a Rush concert, and then they know all the songs, they know all the changes, and they're not even really a drummer.
Yeah. Oh God,
but I think the real talent is, as a vocalist, is when you don't remember the lyrics, but you can make it sound like you do.
That's right. Todd's good at that.
A vowel movement.
Usually, if you're standing on stage with Todd and he's modified the lyric, you're still kind of going, "You covered that one, kid."
It sounds about right. You're kind of like, you know, you sing that thing, you know. People do that all the time too.
You can always do that. Guitar players can just grab their whammy bar and just go woo if they forget what they're doing. Or pretend their jack is shorting out. Oh, what's wrong with my guitar? Okay, back to where it was.
People do that with their mic. People do that with their mic all the time too. Like they kind of forget the words, or their voice is shot.
Do the same mistake twice.
Yeah, exactly.
You meant to do it.
Do the same mistake twice, and then it's actually like a part. You're actually playing something. Yeah. So we don't have Shane today. We don't have Darren today. So I don't know where anybody is, but I thought we'd point that out just to kind of.
We're leading in. It's all good.
I got to turn on my comments in case there's something.
But Fitzy, you're in Winnipeg, right?
Yeah.
Fitzy's in Winnipeg. You're in LA.
I was here after Toque, and then I went to Alaska, and then I came to Vegas, and then I came back here. Wow. So I've done a lot of PCR tests. I've done a lot of COVID testing across borders, and I had to learn lyrics to go play that gig, which I commend you, Todd, because I was like refreshing all these keyboard parts on the spot to go and fly. And then I was like, oh shit. Then I got to have, because I was singing all night too. You know, just
singing all the harmonies, yeah.
And all those vocals, again, you know, you're good at it. But I was like, okay, what's the verse again? You know, it was tough.
It's a challenge, yeah. And all those songs, you know, like Guess Who songs and stuff like that, you're probably on the mic all the time, singing harmonies and just kind of, always singing along.
Every song's harmonies. But again, that's what we do. We're there to, you know, step up to the challenge.
That must have been a lot of fun playing keyboards for the Guess Who.
I love the music. I'm in Winnipeg.
Did you grow a mustache for it? Did you grow a mustache for it?
I did.
So you're doing all those Burton Cummings licks and stuff?
Yeah, it's boogie woogie. It's a lot of cool, you know.
Good for you.
Yeah. Those are great songs, and they're all piano driven, so there's a lot of pressure. I mean, of course, These Eyes is the quintessential. If you don't nail that,
oh man.
So,
is there any video?
I don't know. You'll have to look.
Yeah.
These Eyes. You ever see that in the movie Superbad when those older guys kind of force the young guy to sing These Eyes by the Guess Who for some reason? It's like, so weird.
Fitz, have you now played drums, bass, and keyboards for the Guess Who?
Yes, he has.
Rodinus asks.
Do I win a prize? Yes,
Isn't that Ken from Thunder Bay?
No, that's Ken from Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, okay, sorry, yeah.
Hi, Ken.
These eyes.
By the way, I'm at my parents' place in Winnipeg, and my dad, who is a very loyal Toque viewer. Actually, I went out to a friend's place last night, and everybody, and I didn't know all the people at the little barbecue, but everyone was like, "We love Toque." So I was pretty happy to hear that people in Winnipeg always check it out. But my dad's threatening to come say hi on camera just for his cameo.
I like the The photo behind you shows Merv in his Sears catalog.
I'm in my parents' bedroom. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I know.
The Wi-Fi is good. That's why I'm here. I got my parents' ripping fast Wi-Fi.
Yep.
So
that's awesome.
We should probably bring on the other Winnipeg guy. For those that don't know,
before we do, let's we just want to make an announcement about TikTok. Right now, we're on like 3 different places live at this very moment. We're thinking about consolidating down to just YouTube.
Okay.
We want to hear from you guys in the audience. Would that be okay? You can comment there as well and all that stuff. It just kind of consolidates and puts all the views in one place, and we can keep track of everybody a lot easier that way.
It makes a lot
we're
of
thinking
sense,
about that. Probably happen next week for our next Toque Talk. So
yeah,
you'll have to congregate in the YouTube area on Tuesday at 2.
There you go.
Or whatever time it is.
Same bat time, different bat channel. Or perhaps the same one. Dawn says yes, YouTube is fine.
All right.
He says Darlene.
Oh, good.
I like it.
You guys are easy.
Yes,
YouTube, please. Yes, Corinne.
YouTube, please.
Right on, guys.
I like
hey, Alf. I like these comments now. We didn't see this for a long time, but it's actually a lot better to see everybody that's joining us. So.
All right,
now we got two gigs coming up too that we're going to announce soon.
Yes,
they've just been solidified, so I think we're about to announce them next week or so.
We are indeed,
which is great.
That's exciting.
The Canadian ones you're talking about? Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right on, guys. So let's bring on our guest today.
Yeah, we have another Winnipeg guy. He's kind of like us. He's a Las Vegas Winnipeg guy, but he. Maybe you should do the intro, Fitzy, because of course you know him better than all of us.
Well, if I say he's from Winnipeg, Joe will get mad. So we need to confirm.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Stonewall, Manitoba.
Stonewall. There you go. Wow, Stonewall. Is there a band called Stonewall? I just imagine.
No, there's a penitentiary there.
And I imagine oh yeah, the penitentiary's out there. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Joe can tell us. But his family used to own a nightclub out there that I used to play when I was really young. I think it's called The Rock. But so there's like the penitentiary, the little bar, and the little town, and somehow Joe made it from the little Stonewall, Manitoba, into having hit songs around the world with a huge band. So, but we'll fill in the blanks with Joe. So from Stonewall, Manitoba, now living in Las Vegas, Mr. Joe or Joey Dandeneau from the band Theory of a Deadman.
That's right.
Joe.
Or just Theory now.
Yeah.
Theory.
Is it Theory, Joe, proper?
It's both. We just kind of slimmed it down to make it a little easier for everybody to remember, because it's kind of scary. The dead man scares people sometimes.
That's hilarious.
Like
10 years later, you're like, or whatever, however long later, it's like, it's too scary now. Let's just, just Theory.
I don't know how many times I've been in like an Uber or something, and what do you do? I'm a musician. Oh, what's your band? Theory of a Deadman. They're like, Deadman? Is that like black metal? I'm like, black metal?
Yeah, totally.
No, it is. We're
like,
we're actually
interesting, because the name, and of course I have known you forever and know so well the band, but Todd and I, having played in Europe a lot, we would go to shop at HMV, right, Todd? We'd always be looking at CDs and stuff, and the band always got categorized literally with metal bands, and I was like, it's so far from where it should be categorized. But in HMV in the UK, it would be like just
rock,
these,
I guess.
Yeah, but it would be in the metal section. And it's just funny. Maybe just by default because of the name. So
just the other night, Joe was hanging.
You could have extended the name to Theory of a Deadman. We're not scary. You could have done that too, I suppose, right?
Because that's not long enough.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would just get shortened down to Theory either way. Then there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like this one. This is more pertinent to today.
Theory. Oh,
Conspiracy theory. That's nice.
There you go.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I like that.
Hey,
Thank
Joe.
you.
So I know you guys were able to get out and do some shows recently, which probably felt good considering we'd all been home in the last little while. So how was the? I know there's more to it. You're home right now, but you did do a bunch of shows, right?
Yeah, so we got to do 3 shows. We flew out. We went to Nashville. We met up. You know, I hadn't seen the guys in like a year and a half since our last Canadian tour. As a matter of fact, 2020.
Right.
We got home March 1st, 2020, and then that was it. Everything shut down.
And wait, hold on. So what happened? You were on the road, and you guys were like in Canada, or where were you when the whole COVID thing started to?
Well, and it's funny because I actually flew into Vancouver to start the tour. The tour it was right across Canada, from west all the way to the east. So and at that point it was like I was like the day before I was getting into the airport here in Vegas. The word got out that like the first person or the first passenger with COVID had now traveled through McCarran Airport here in Las Vegas.
Lovely.
And so everybody's like, "Oh, should I wear a mask? Should I not? I don't." And that's kind of where we were. So fast forward that day, I get to the airport. Some people are getting off the plane wearing masks. Some people weren't. I decided I wasn't going to do that day. We fly to Vancouver. I get into the hotel, check on the news, Canadian news, and they're saying, well, tomorrow is going to be the day where they had to decide whether it's going to be a national emergency or not. So I wake up first thing in the morning, national emergency. Okay, that's not good. But tour goes on. So we get all the way through Canada, finish our last show in Ontario, and back to the airport to Toronto, fly back home. So we finished the whole tour, no problems, no cancellations. It was great. Get home March 1st. By March 6th or March 11th, gone, done. Everything's done. Wow, like, so the whole world shut down. So we literally, just got under the wire to finish that tour.
Joe,
so that was
just to confirm, your cross Canada tour ended in Ontario. I mean,
well, yeah, it did. We actually did. No. I know what it sounds like. Yeah. No, we all went. We went all the way to. I wouldn't say PEI, but we didn't go that far. But we went to like New Brunswick and Nova Scotia and stuff, and then circled back.
Oh, great!
Finished in Ontario. Yeah.
Because it's funny because I was kind of just half making fun of you because most of us, Canada is such a monster to tour that you would make it as far as Quebec, Ontario, and it was just like a whole other conversation about going further east than that. Is like, and it's such a shame because it's when you get out there and you finally get out there, those people rock. You know what I mean? Like Newfoundland, PEI, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, that whole area is on fire. And
it's amazing. We don't do it enough.
I know.
And it's just so far. It's just so far out. It's
exactly.
Tough. Yeah.
When you consider the East Coast of the United States, there's a whole other. A whole lot more going on with Canada going that far, much further east. Yeah,
it's like another country past that. Like,
it really is.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we do it when we can.
Another half-hour time zone.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, we try and get out there as much as we can. And boy, you're right, Todd. Man, those people out there, they love it, and
throw down,
we love them.
And they're appreciative because it's they are aware how much of a challenge it is to get out there. So when you do actually show up. It's on, yeah.
They know, and you know what? Our front of house guy and our lighting guy both live in Halifax, so they understand the travel to get out to tour. They always they have an extra flight or two, over everybody else, just because they're so far out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When I would tour with the family band, we would go through New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island.
Oh, you would go that far?
We only did it like once, I think.
Okay.
But it was such a marked difference because the bands would leave each other food, like not like leftover takeout or something, but like
I was gonna say,
an unopened jar of peanut butter and jam. And
did you eat that food we left you?
No, it was like everything was brand new. It was like they went and got something, and they leave it on the table for the next band that comes through. So super nice.
Wow.
But yeah, we only did it once.
And that's the they're more Canadian out there than anywhere else in Canada, apparently. Yeah.
Totally.
So now, did you play in your family's band as well, Joe, or your parents played music together? Is that true?
My dad and 6 of his brothers and sisters, they were called the Family Six.
There you go. And so you and Corey have that sort of in common because Corey played in a family band, and your dad comes from a family band. That's so cool.
Yeah, he was the oldest, and he started the group. He kind of played everything. He started with drums, and then he moved over to guitar, and then he became a violin player, which that was his number one instrument was the fiddle. And that guy was like, it's crazy how much like feel he had. So I guess just like my ability to play drums just came from him, because I just kind of came out of the gates, just like I just got it. It was like breathing to me, right? So I literally just watched. That's how I learned. I started to play polkas and waltzes because on my mom's side, my uncle is an accordion player. So my dad would play fiddle, and uncle would play accordion, and then a family friend would play guitar. So we'd play all the weddings, all the family weddings, and it was just polkas and waltzes. And that's how I actually got to learn how to play drums, was polkas and waltzes.
So how
amazing.
you
and death metal.
Yeah,
same thing,
yeah, exactly.
That's just a really fast polka, right?
That's basically what it is. Yeah.
So how old were you when you started playing, like, with the family band stuff or whatever, like dances and stuff like that? Were you a child?
I was a kid, literally a kid. Yeah.
Because you started like at
teaches?
5 or something.
I started at 3, and that's basically. Believe me, I thought it was a little strange when I heard that too, but there's proof. There's footage, old photos that are in a box somewhere in a basement, where that's. Yeah, and then I got my auntie, my godmother. She bought me my first drum kit, and it was one of those like Fisher Price, the little toy with the little moons and the stars and the one little symbol and and
amazing.
It was at my grandparents' place north of Winnipeg. It was about like 2 hours north of Winnipeg. It's a little town called Fisher Branch, and it's like middle of nowhere. It's just a little farming town, and we were out there. Brent, you know Fisher Branch? Sure you do.
Of course.
Yeah, sure you do. So that's where I was basically. That was my first 3 years of my life was there, and that's where my parents owned a restaurant even there too. Back in the day, and I found my uncle had an old, like an actual real drumstick. I found it in a closet somewhere, and I went, took it out, and went to hit the drums, and of course their piece of plastics smashed everything, broken, done. Garbage, crying, just crying. I broke my drums first day, and so my parents were like, "Well, I guess we should probably get him something a little bit more sustainable." So yeah, that was the start of it, and it was like I just couldn't stop.
That's incredible! Wow.
What about the in Stonewall? Like that's where you grew up, right? Later, like what?
Yeah,
was
I moved
the
at like 3.5 years old. I moved to Stonewall, and I was there since. Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually played up in Stonewall, your hometown, at that, and it's still there, right? It's like a bar, and they have. I don't know if they still have bands, but it was the happening gig just outside of Winnipeg.
So how far out of Winnipeg is Stonewall? Sorry,
25 minutes north of north of the perimeter. Friends will know that. Yeah.
Are you the most famous person now from the bustling mecca of Stonewall? I would think so.
I don't know.
Is there hockey players? Are there hockey players from Stonewall? Because that'll answer that question quickly.
That's right.
We're all.
I don't know.
Hockey players. Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody has made the NHL from Stonewall. Well, Daryl Stanley. You guys know Daryl Stanley? Played for the Canucks.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Back in the day, he was a fighter. And he moved into Stonewall for many years, opening up like a hunting, business where he would bring in the American hunters and take them up to the cabins and.
Of course, yeah.
And he would say he would
for a hockey player though, because then if you do win the championship, you've got the Stanley Cup, right?
Exactly.
Maybe he's related to Lord Stanley.
Yeah.
It says Angela is telling us that Daryl Stanley played with the Flyers. What year was he with the Flyers?
Okay, he may have. It's hello, Angela. I know Angela. I'm not sure. I'll take her word for it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just knew him as a Canuck at some point. So
he says he's still there.
Oh wow,
he's still there.
He still has a chance to win the Stanley Cup.
There you go.
Wow,
that's amazing. Wow.
But yeah, Stonewall was my home for a long time. And Brent, you had mentioned the Rock. My dad owned the Rock since we moved there. He owned
that is
basically my
cool.
whole life as a Stonewallian.
Wow. Yeah, and you had like your parents were obviously musical, and then your parents also owned like bars and stuff. So, I mean, my parents were musical, but I didn't. I went to go to those places to play. But I just remember how cool it was. That was a good gig up there. We used to like playing up there all the time, and I didn't know you back then.
Did you see all the bands coming through and playing at the gig, or like did he own?
No, because I was a kid. This was long before I ever turned 18. Because in Manitoba, it's 18.
So he wouldn't let you in. He wouldn't let you in underage to watch bands or anything like that.
No, and I didn't know that they had a whole lot of bands. I honestly don't even remember. It's been so long, and I was such a young kid. And by the time my dad sold it, I still wasn't even 18 yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I played there when I was 16 or 17, Joe. We're talking 1986, 87. So you were just like a tiny
4 years old. Yeah.
You're still a young guy. How old are you now? 39?
No, hey, now.
I'm trying to do the math.
No, you're very close. Just giving you a hard time. 37. Still today.
Okay.
I'll be 38 next month. So I'm holding on to the 37 as long as I can.
Yeah, you've always been a lot younger than me, and I was always jealous because, well, you know how it is when the young new kid comes around behind you. I feel proud of it, but I'm also like, God, he's so young. But
I know, yeah,
because I probably saw you when you were just starting out playing in the clubs in Winnipeg. You moved to the big city, right? Or were you probably still living in Stonewall?
Still in Stonewall.
Wow. Okay. But the gigs were in Winnipeg, maybe with Mark Labossiere, or that's probably where I saw you first, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, I just turned 18, and a friend of mine had his birthday at Silverado's in Winnipeg, and so I went down just to spend time with him at his birthday, and Mark was playing that night, and Kevin Radomski was playing drums, and I knew Kevin, and so I went to say hi to Kevin, and he's like, well, I'm going to be leaving the band soon, so they're going to be looking for a drummer. So I went home, and I found Mark's phone number in the phone book. I'm not kidding.
Wow,
and I phoned
him.
I love it. From the house phone, looking through the phone book. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, hello, is this Mark? He's like, yeah. So I told him who I was, knew Kevin. He's like, well, if you want to come down for an audition, why not? And I don't think he expected me to show up knowing anything, right? So it's like, yeah, sure. Kevin was like, it's okay. He's all right. He just let him jam. So he let me in, and then he hired me on the spot. So,
amazing.
Awesome.
Wow. What kind of stuff were they playing? Was it like his own music, or was this the cover thing that Mark was doing at that time?
All covers. It's all the hits, and that's all covers. So, but he was a full-time, nonstop, big-time cover band guy. I mean, his name was known. He was a household name in Winnipeg. So
you would have been busy the second you joined his band, Joe, right? You would have been playing 6 nights a week, every week,
nonstop.
Right into the fire. And that's the best thing about the club days of, start young and get your stage, your road legs, all that experience, which you did right away.
Totally.
It's awesome.
It was so much fun. And I get to quit my job. I was working at Mother's Music. It was Long McQuaid, I think, at that point. Yeah, it was Long McQuaid at that point.
Do you have an epic quitting story?
I had an epic quitting story for going to Theory of a Deadman.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear that.
Well, let's hear about that.
Let's hear that about it. Yeah, I want to hear that.
We talked about this with Tyler, that Brent was in the band and then actually recommended you. And then there's something about saying that you like to play video games that, or if they ask you, tell them that you do like to play video games, and that's what got you the gig.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is very accurate, actually. Yeah, Brent, you called me. Geez, you called me, and I don't remember. I don't remember what was going on, but you're like, yeah, I'm going to play with Alice Cooper, and I think you'd be the right guy for the gig, and you should, I'm going to put my 2 cents in. But you said, but you're gonna have to they're gonna do a cattle call. So it's you're gonna have to go do auditions. You're gonna have to fight for it. And I was like, okay, that's cool, no worries. And so he's like, well, I'll send the guys to let them know, and they'll probably reach out.
Where did you do that, Joe? Where was the audition? Because you would have been in Winnipeg, and I remember seeing you at. We bumped into each other, or because this was 2007, right? I actually remember the year, and I think I ran into you in Winnipeg, and I had just been in town for a little bit, and then we connected, and then I think, but I don't know where you guys auditioned, because those guys like Tyler and Dave and Dean were all living in Vancouver still. So where did it happen?
So you called me, get the whole process going. I'm still playing in cover bands at this point, a different cover band, not Mark. And so I'm out in Dryden, Ontario. So it's like 4 hours from Winnipeg, right? And I'm playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's Saturday night. I get a MySpace message from Dean, the bass player. Hey man, sorry for the like super late response here, but we were talking to Brent and he'd mentioned you for an do some auditioning for us. We're holding auditions on Monday in LA. If you can make it in 2 days. Well, again, LA. Sorry for the late response here, but if you can make it, we'd love to have you. My God. And I'd never, I was 24, 25 years old.
I'm guessing, had you not been to LA before either?
No, I hadn't even been to Vancouver before. I'd never been anywhere. I was just, I was so green.
It's like Stonewall, Winnipeg, end of list.
Literally, yeah. So
but hopefully you just said, all right, I'll book a flight or whatever.
Well, I call my dad in between breaks, in between intermissions of the 3 sets of the Saturday night show in Dryden at this little bar. And so I call my dad. I'm like, I need to get to LA Monday morning. He's like, I'm on it. Just go play your set. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
So I call. He's like, call me back your next break. So I call him back, and he goes, okay, I got the last ticket on the flight. Cool. It's at 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's Winnipeg to Chicago to LA.
Ouch.
So I'm like, oh my God. And I had remembered, Brent had told me, he's like, you need to learn how to sing the backups in this band. And I hadn't been a singer. I had no idea how to sing. I still don't even know how to sing. But he's like, this is what you need to do. I'm telling you. And I was like, okay. So so they send me the 3 songs. I learn them when I get home from Dryden. So it's a 4-hour drive Sunday morning. I get home. I learn the 3 songs. I get to the airport, and I'm flying over to Chicago and then to LA, and I'm listening to them in my earbuds and singing the harmonies on the flight over. And I get to LA, and at this point I'm so beyond excited because I'd never even been there. I got in the cab and I saw the big Randy's Donuts sign on the roof, and I was like, this is amazing,
Is it like Inglewood or something? Yeah.
I don't even know actually where that is. But I saw that, and I was like, it was like the epitome of the dream that we all had as kids, right? Just you get to Hollywood or you get to LA, and everything is bigger than you expect, and it's just your dreams have just come to life. So I'm at this point mentally, getting to the hotel. I had booked myself. I found a hotel called the Safari Inn, and I was like, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be nice. And I get there, and it's like this rundown motel, blood on the sheets kind of place. And I'm like, oh, but I didn't even care. $40 a night kind of thing. So I get in, check in, and I get to back in the cab and over to the audition place, and I whirl in. And I open the door, and it's this, I don't know if it was mates or I don't even actually remember the rehearsal spot, but there's 20 guys and all big time players. Some guys are playing for Disney. There was a Swedish guy with this long blonde hair and a white fur coat on and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, right? I'm so out of my element here. I'm so out of my place. And I had to wait and listen to every drummer go in and do the 3 songs. And I can hear them playing, and everybody's crushing it so good. And I'm like, really? Well, I'm never going to get this, but this is cool as it is. So at least I can go home and I can take this with me, right? So I get in there, and I roll in, and I have a little Tama rhythm watch for a click track because I want to make sure my timing is good.
Right.
So I put my earbuds in, and I sit down behind the drums, and bands all set up in front of me, management, label people, all behind them, all just watching, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm inside, I'm sweating, I'm screaming, but I'm calm because I was prepared. I thought I was prepared. I'm like, even though these guys are awesome, I'm going to be awesome. I know I'm going to be awesome. And I remember, Brent, you said, I bet you when you go into rehearsals, there's going to be a microphone on next to the drum kit, and it's going to have a boom stand, and it's going to be facing down when you get in there. I bet you. And sure enough, and I don't know, Brent, I don't even know if you remember you saying that, but you did. And I walked in, and sure enough, there was a microphone, a 58 microphone on a boom stand facing down. And I was like one of the last guys to audition, and I look at it, I look at Tyler, and I'm like, hey man, do you mind if I do some harmonies with you? And it was almost like he saw a deer in a headlight.
Eric Singer's calling. Hold on, sorry. Another drummer.
We'll finally have Eric Singer on TikTok now. Yeah,
we should have him on. Yeah,
you should. And so so he goes, you know the harmonies? I'm like, yeah, I think so. He's like, that'd be great. So well, put the microphone up. He goes, well, let's start with Santa Monica, kick us in. I'm like, yeah. So I counted us in. We did 2 songs. I didn't even get through 3. And they're like, okay, we're good. I think we're good. Everybody goes back to the hotel. It was actually Barry Squire. Do you guys know Barry Squire?
Of course.
Talent agent?
Well,
yeah. So,
very well. And that's probably why Todd and I have experienced, several things. And I don't know if you have, Corey, but Barry Squire is integral in putting, specific audition things together for, you might not even know, like he will call you and say, hey, this artist is looking for, a guitar player, a drummer, and you might not know what the gig is. And then you get there. And so Barry obviously put that together for Theory, which was why there was all those guys there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of a scary thing. I mean, just to know that, well, there's so many other guys
but isn't it's amusing to me that, even going through all that, in the same thing that happened within the Slash band when we hired Frank Sidoris, there was sort of like the process of just going to Brent and going like, we need a drummer, or just get Joe, he's good. And then like, that's who ended up being the drummer injected into this entire process of 1 million people in Los Angeles. The exact same thing happened with Frank. It was like, why don't we just get Frank? Well, let's go through this whole process of jamming with a bunch of people and ending up exactly with the very first person that was brought up. It's just so funny to me.
But for your own credit, Joe, you got your gig, you earned your gig.
Yeah.
It's just that because I'm old and I've been through a lot, I do know what I would look for in somebody if I was bringing in a musician. And all us Toque guys are singers. And it's an integral tool to part of your gig is to have that extra, things that bring something else to the table. There's a lot of great drummers. I'm not the greatest drummer. Joe, you and I are guys from small towns, and Corey and Todd, we're all from small places. And, if you're going to get a gig with something that you want, you better have, something else in place. So the mic stand was there, and you obviously were ready to sing. And I'm guessing some of the other guys didn't do that.
I was one of the last guys to audition. So that means there was at least 17 or 18 other guys that didn't touch it.
Of course not, no.
Yeah.
So I think I was the only one. And then I went to the hotel after because they're like, oh, Barry's going to call you, let you know. Even though you're not part of his thing, he's still going to call you and let you know what the turnout was. So he called me and he's like, hey, so I just wanted to let you know that they've canceled, they've gone through everything and they've kept two guys. You're one of them. So congrats. You can go home and their management's going to contact you now for further stuff. My job here is done. So good luck. I'm like, wow, holy cow. So back to Winnipeg I go. I get a message or a phone call from Mike, the manager at the time, and he's like, so we're gonna have you come out to Vancouver now because the guys are all gonna go back to Vancouver. We're gonna fly you out there. We're gonna pay for the hotel, and you're gonna do some jamming, maybe a little dinner. Guys gonna get to know you a little bit, and that's kind of what we're gonna do. So that's what we did, and I'm on a WestJet flight flying to Vancouver, losing my mind because now this is a paid flight. I didn't have to pay out of my pocket. I get to the Holiday Inn Express thinking I'm at, the Hyatt. It's like, I'm so excited.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And at this point it was in the middle of winter time. So Winnipeg was freezing. I get to Vancouver and it's raining and flowers and it's grass, and I'm like, this is like a whole new world. How this is amazing. So it was this whole other experience I'd never experienced before. So I was like on 11 the entire time, and then Tyler picked me up in his truck at the hotel and brought me to this jam spot. We set up drums and we jammed for like 20 minutes, like barely. I think they already knew like he can play, but is he all right of a guy? Can we get along with this guy? Right. Can we be in a tour bus with this guy?
Yeah.
So we're like, let's just go for dinner. So we get to dinner, and this is where that comment comes in. Tyler and I are sitting next to each other, Dean and Dave across, and just sit down. We didn't even order anything yet. And Dave looks at me and he goes, so just have one question. You like video games? And I was like, what is this? Is this the Twilight Zone? This is hilarious. I'm like, of course I do. And he's like, great, let's order some drinks. Let's get, what do you guys do? You guys hungry? We want to, it's like, they knew.
Didn't matter what you said after that. As long as you like video games.
It didn't matter.
What games did you guys play? I'm curious about that.
NHL hockey.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sega Genesis back then. Is that what it was?
Well, I think no. We were past that. We were into the PlayStation.
PlayStation,
at that point.
Of course. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
nice.
We had the PS3, I think, at that point, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the 4 came out, and everyone was like, wow.
As Ken is pointing out here, the hang is half the gig. Playing, of course, is the other half. That is 100% true, and it should be
true.
It cannot be stated loudly enough that you could be a great player, but if you can't hang, they'll just go with the guy that can hang.
It's really, because everybody, like I said, there was 20 of those guys that probably played better than I did.
Oh, I don't know about that, Joe.
Yeah,
but I had.
I was going to say, networking is everything, and if you don't like to network, which I don't like, then you got to hang around with people like Brent Fitz, because then he'll refer people to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
He'll work as a mediator between you.
Well, Corey, then me and you are very similar, because it's not my strong suit. I don't network. That's why I hang out with Brent. I mean, look,
he takes care of that for us.
Now I'm playing bass. I mean,
there
Brent,
you go.
I follow you. I follow your lead, man.
Setting you up.
There you go.
Hey, look, Joe and I had Toque on our own. What's funny is, I was telling you guys, the beauty of being friends in the business all this, these years is being friends and being musicians and, sharing experiences. So I hadn't seen Joe all during COVID, right? And we live about 15 minutes apart. Joe's in Lake Las Vegas, and Todd and I are about 15 minutes apart too. But I hadn't seen you. And we just had a nice little coffee, a month ago? Right before you went on the road.
Yep.
And then we talked on the phone the other day, not specifically knowing we'd be talking here today, but the catch-ups, the phone calls are half of it. And I just find like all my other musician friends or drummers, like we can solve the world. We can all help each other out for gigs just by going for coffee, meeting at Mothership, see at 4:00. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, hey, and you know what? I think you rehearsed with us, but you were busy. Remember, we had a Toque gig, and you were our first call to come in on drums. Yeah. And but you were too busy, which is okay.
That's right. Yeah. Joe almost did a Toque gig. Yeah.
I wanted to. It actually wasn't, guys. I don't know if you remember, but it was actually my mom fell ill. That's right. That's what happened. I wasn't able to do the gig in Dauphin.
That's right.
That's right.
Right.
Which
I
was
apologize, but I thought maybe you were maybe Theory was going to do maybe shoot some videos or something too. There was something good and positive in there too that you were like,
We ended. Yeah, there was touring, and then there was a new record and all that stuff. So we had video shoots, photo shoots, all that stuff too in LA. But yeah, no, unfortunately that's why I couldn't do that gig in Dauphin with you guys, which was so bad because I was so looking forward to it. I mean, I remember you called me, Brent, and you're like, so we need you to come and fill in. We're gonna jam in Vegas. Corey's coming in to do like a Shania thing, or maybe it was a Kelly thing, but he'll come in like the night before, and we'll do some jamming. And we went over. So I think Todd, I want to say, was that the first time I actually met you in person?
I don't know. I feel like we probably hung out like in the theory group hang at some point, but yeah, that might be the first time we just sort of. That's funny that you bring that up because it feels like I've known you. Because Joe and I see each other on a pseudo regular basis now because our chicks are besties, and it's kind of like we end up at things. And I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh,
what are you doing here?"
yeah.
But I was thinking about that before we did this. I'm like, where did I actually first meet you in person? Because I'd known who you were. Obviously, you're like a Canadian icon with Age of Electric back when I was a kid and stuff.
Let's take the next 15 minutes and talk about my icon status. I appreciate that, Joe.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole Age of Electric thing. I mean, I was a kid watching all the Much Music videos and so I was like, oh my God, I get to meet Todd Kearns. This is amazing, right? and I get to like jam with you. So that was like a big deal for me when.
We did actually jam. We did actually jam, didn't we?
We did a whole day of rehearsal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got there and part for My Girl.
That's right. Joe was singing.
Yeah. And we got
remember it. You gonna sing it for us now?
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3,
4.
My girl.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun. But yeah, it's I mean, honestly, that door is never closed. You'd be amongst the first calls if that ever happened again. We'd love to have you because you're
You got to remember what's the prerequisite for Toque? Well, coming from the smaller town, coming from the same music prairie scene. And we all live in the States. You kind of are the exact template of all of, what we kind of stand for.
I don't know if we've asked you this, but do you play video games? Sorry. Because literally none of us do. No, Corey plays video games.
I love
No, Corey's a big gamer. You are, Corey.
I don't play video
games. Is that right, Corey? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would play all day if I could.
But that's like, which ones do you play? Like the Star Wars games or the Republic one, right?
I play a Star Wars game just, and I still just play that. It came out in 2015 and I just still play it because I spent so much time getting good at it. I don't want to spend more time getting good at something else because I feel like I'm wasting my time learning.
Right.
And I get so mad because everybody beats the crap out of me. So, and they call me noobs and stuff. And I'm like, actually, they call me a scrub. I had to actually ask somebody what a scrub meant.
That's
why these guys call me scrubs.
What is that? What does that mean?
Well, it just means you're a loser gamer that can't do anything.
Really?
Wow.
That's amazing.
Tough room.
You just don't want to be a scrub.
That's amazing. Well, I do play.
But now Corey, I'm not a scrub. I still get my butt kicked, but I'm not a scrub at least. So
well, I would be a scrub in that world.
Yeah.
And a newbie. Yeah. I would be all those things because I don't play nearly as much as these guys do, or maybe not as much as you do, but I still dabble.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, it was probably a 12-year-old kid that said that to me. Actually,
you probably it's probably
a lot of guys our age that just want to like gaming.
Murph Fitz in the house.
Hey, Murph.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Daddy-o.
Brent's dad is making a cameo.
That's
amazing.
Look at that shirt, man. He's
rocking a Toque
dressed
shirt,
up
no
today.
less. Wow.
I've never seen him look better.
My dad probably drove me to the gig, Joe, at the Rock back in the Stonewall days because I would have been like 16, so I probably needed a ride.
That's hilarious.
Anyway. That's amazing.
So, what's going on the wall of fame behind you, Joe? So let's just say after that little successful audition in LA, well, there's been a lot of good hit songs you got to play with the band, and I see some stuff on the wall there. So we should talk about that because actually, I will say that I think that last record you guys did was really cool. And do you remember I was in your house over there where you're sitting right now, and I came over, and remember we were talking about a new record. I don't know if it was the very last one or the one before. And so what were we talking about? You were asking me like, hey, what do you think? It's a little different change of, style. And what did I tell you?
Yeah, you said exactly that. We're totally changing things up, man. Like, I want to get your thoughts on this. because it's something new for me too. Like as a drummer, trying to basically learn an entirely new style of playing, using new drum tones that I've never, everything. And it's just like an entire learning curve for me. Like Corey said, like sometimes you've mastered this, you just want to do this.
Was that a record done in the UK?
It was the first one we did in England, yeah. With Mark.
Was anybody calling you a newbie or a scrub as you were doing this new style?
No, thank God.
Scrub, come on.
I had enough insecurities as it was. I didn't need to hear that. Thank goodness I didn't hear that. No, but yeah, it was funny because we were sitting on the sofa, and I'm like, I want to play you the song, Brent, and it was our song RX, or as people would call us, Medicate, and you were like, that's a hit song, man. You're like, and I think you even used the word, you're like, it's sexy, like it's got this vibe to it, and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And come to find out now that is now our most successful song in our entire career. So
there you go. Nice.
That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. Now, how many years have you been with the guys now?
Since 2008. So I guess we're 12 years, something like that.
Damn, that's a long time. Yeah. Good for you.
That's great.
That's great.
And they hired me as like a hired gun. Huh?
You're doing better than the Beatles.
You live in Vegas, and the other guys are kind of spread out now. It's not really a Vancouver band per se, because
not really.
You've always had success in America, in particular, not just Canada, and you've played all over Europe and a bunch of places. But so you're in Vegas, and Ty, he's in California. He's been there a long time, right?
Yeah, he's been there for a while. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He loves it there. Dave's over in Alabama. His wife is a doctor, and she's crushing it. So he moved over there, and they have a family, and he's loving life right now. So and Dean's still back in Vancouver.
Like Abbotsford.
Yeah, he's got the support system, he's got the family, he's got everything there. He's not going anywhere.
So let's talk in depth about the whole process of your involvement of getting Brent Fitz kicked out of the band to take his gig. Let's talk about that conspiracy.
Yeah.
Let's make this more interesting than make it.
Yeah, I know. I called Tyler. I was like, "This guy's got to go, man."
You got it. Yeah.
Doesn't play video games. In fact, I'll confess, when we would play some of those, like a Much Music Video Awards or something, if you ever get the chance to go backstage, and sometimes if you're like, part of it, there's little gift stations, right?
Yeah.
And they sometimes like to hook you up with things. And I will openly admit that one of them, we were all gifted PS3s or something like that.
Wow.
And I might have made a comment like, this will probably not get used. And the other guys were like, what? What are you talking about?
Did you end up wrapping it up for a nephew or anything, or for somebody's kid?
I'm sure I gifted it properly. But look, I'm an Atari kid. I'm a little older than you, Joe. So when video games were new and I was 7 or 8 years old, our whole worlds were changed from Atari. And then
I had an Atari.
Fitz is sitting around playing Pong. You guys are playing.
I like some of those stupid, Pong. There's the graphics are terrible, but I still like Pac-Man and all that. Still like it.
I had a Pong game.
Pinball.
We had Pong as well.
Yeah.
That was a great game. I love that game.
It was fun.
In fact, I just bought some reissued, Atari thing just to have an updated version, because I have the original, but it's unreliable. And so I still I do like video games. I can still be in Theory of a Deadman.
Too late.
You
Yeah,
got to scrub though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You got scrubbed. When.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, no. What's that?
Frogger.
Yeah, I love Frogger. Kim, that's such a good game.
That's like a total arcade experience, though. Like all that for those of us, we're old enough to remember actually having to go someplace to play video games, which was a big deal. I mean, I don't think I ever really kind of made that sort of switch to just doing it at home. But then I ended up buying a KISS pinball machine because you just in a state of arrested development. But the actual video games, I never quite got. Both my brothers were really into it, and I guess because I picked up a guitar, and that was became my obsession.
It's not too late for you, Todd.
Oh, it's too late for many things.
So what about Joe, the drums behind you? Have you been like since COVID? I know I was watching all your, you actually got busy on the kit there and you were playing some of the, your songs. And I really like that because you just wake up, you make a coffee and there you go. You're right there.
And I'm into the office here in the studio. And I would just record myself playing. I did it all literally for myself because I just wanted to play. And I was like, I don't, let's just videotape. I just see what it looks like, and I had that was it. That was the only reason why I did it. And then I put the first one out, and I mean, I put the camera. I didn't know what I was doing, and it was like you couldn't see anything. But I put it out anyway, and people were like, "This is great. Play this song. Do this song. Do that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then I was going through like a bunch of songs and I would choose songs that we didn't play live. It would be more fun for me because it's songs that I loved off like records that we didn't play live. So that I started to find the B sides or the record, just not singles, and it was fun. And then everybody's like, well, let's play like the hits. So I was like, okay. So I started incorporating the hit, and I started to have a lot of fun with it. And then I started to learn how to like record myself better and use software. And now I'm using Pro Tools, and I've got all the plugins, and I'm learning how to do all that stuff and mix and do it. And so I found actually COVID may have been, there was obviously there's a lot of awful things that came with that, but it brought some awesome aspects to my life that I didn't know I loved so much, like the production side of music.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm, sitting in front of my computer for 12, 14 hours, mixing stuff, mixing drums, mixing bass. Cool. I get people like sending me like some of their tracks. I'm like learning how to mix. And it was like, I'd be sitting, it was like first thing in the morning, coffee, and then 2 coffee, 3 coffee. And then I'm like, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting in the dark. And I look outside and I'm like, I didn't even realize it's nighttime and my lights are off. I should probably turn the lights on. I'm so focused. And then I just, so I all of a sudden gained this like massive respect for studio guys that like Corey, like yourself, who how to mix and track and edit and all this amazing stuff. And I just have this mad respect for that skill set because I didn't realize how hard it was until I started doing it. And then obviously your brother, Kevin, who's the man, I actually reached out to Kevin. I was like, man, I have another respect for you, and if there's any tips you could ever give me, just shoot them over, So that's like, I've spent a lot of time doing that, and boy, oh boy, is it rewarding when you actually get a mix going where you're like, wow, I didn't know this before. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. So now I spend a lot of time here.
That's great.
You demoed up some theory stuff there too, because I think
I do all the demo stuff here too. Yeah, but I never like demoed well to Tyler. Like I would send ideas over, and he's like, yeah, that sounds good. But like I think now my demos would be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what we've been doing in Toque. Corey basically is he's everything revolves around Corey's studio, but Shane also has a satellite studio and a kit. So when we record, we kind of, other than Todd, you've done some vocals in Vegas, right? And
a little bit.
Usually we try to get you in Corey's studio, but we have made things work.
Yeah.
I always tell people that are up and coming, like, because they ask, well, what do I got to do to make it, get a gig like yours or something. And I tell them, be as good as you can on your instrument. If you're not the best, then learn to sing as well, because that will definitely help you get gigs. Do the networking. And of course, learn to record yourself, because I didn't realize how crappy I was until I started editing myself, right, in Pro Tools.
Oh,
so, and then when you start to edit yourself and it sounds better, then you know how much, or what sounds better, and your frame of reference, your bar has been raised.
Sure.
So, and also you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money and be reliant on someone else in the studio to make a good demo or even a full single release or an album. You just do it yourself, save a lot of money, buy a lot of gear, and you know, in the end, you'll come out ahead.
That's true. That's true. Especially in this day and age, because people like, you know, although we're single-handedly talking about crushing the music industry that's already, you know, dismantling as we talk, but it is one of those things where people are able to do things in their home on the laptops or desktops we're talking on right now, that we felt completely powerless to. We have to go and record at 2 a.m., you know, in somebody else's session, you know, try and get the entire album recorded in 8 hours, you know, or whatever you have to do.
Right.
Which is kind of fun in and of itself, but you know, it's amazing what you can do at home these days.
It's so true, yeah, and it's fun. I enjoy it. And
that's exactly you've nailed it. It is fun. That's the coolest thing about doing this, playing music and all that, is it's fun. I think it's fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be, exactly.
The fact that I get to do it for a living is hard to believe sometimes.
That is true.
Totally.
That is true. That is absolutely true. We're all very blessed that way. So what's coming up for you guys? I mean, I know you guys just did you just got home not that long ago, didn't you?
Yeah, about a month ago.
Oh, is it that long already? Wow. So what's
we only did 2 shows, and then and we were. I'm supposed to be out right now. We canceled our September run due to you know what's going on in the world right now. We didn't feel like it was safe, but we still have our. We start in the end of October, go through November, December. That's still in play as of now, and we'll just kind of wing it as we go. If you feel like it needs to stop, we'll stop with that.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but we'll call an audible, you know, if we need to. And again, if we don't feel like it's safe, or you know, make a plan. But yeah, that's kind of what's up for now. But in the meantime, I'm just sitting at home, probably just gonna keep doing
stuff. Yeah. That's the one thing I admire about drummers, is that sort of like, you know, constant, like Shane is always posting playing drums. He plays drums all the time. It's like the funniest thing. But yes, it is one of those things. It's such a physical gig that you actually can, you know, damage yourself by not trying to keep up your chops, or, you know, like you have to kind of, you don't want to just dive back into like that level of physicality without some sort of like warming up and practicing and keeping yourself limber and solid.
There's a little bit of training involved in coming back. That's how I was actually one of my biggest fears was coming back after a year and a half. And, you know, as nice as this kid is and fun to play on at home, but you're not putting that effort, the physical effort that a rock drummer puts in on a live stage in front of thousands of people, right? Yeah. So I'm, you know, my muscles and neck and back and all that stuff is not going to be conditioned to just slide back in. So, but I didn't really have another alternative to a live, you know, setting like that. So I just kind of had to do the best I could at home, meaning exercising, right? Lifting a little bit of weights, not overly, I don't want to be muscular or anything like that. I just want to be a little bit better in shape and be able to come in and not be wheezing at the end of a.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong though, because it doesn't matter what position you play. It's you know, the idea of suddenly, like I remember when gigs started to come back up, a lot of my friends were like, dude, I totally forgot what it meant to stand on stage with a guitar on for 90 minutes. You know, like the whole idea of like, you know, you're just going to sit around watching Netflix for a year and then like now go stand up there and, you know, just pure adrenaline for at least half the show, and then the other half of the show realizing what you've done to yourself.
Yeah. Wake up in the morning on the tour bus and you got full rock neck, nothing moves. You're like,
the worst.
The worst, yeah. And harder on drummers, because the physical aspect is the expectation of a drummer is like, we're like an athlete in some ways. I remember, forget Todd, who was doing that experiment? Was it Clem Burke? We were talking. Clem Burke did through a medical research team in New York, and they were monitoring Clem Burke, the drummer from Blondie, and doing all these tests on him when he was gigging. And it did actually turn into, like, all the results came back that you're basically like a full-on athlete, like an NFL player when you're drumming.
Absolutely.
Really?
Because of all the cardio and all the breathing and all the, you get your heart rate up and so, when you're home for a year, it is fantastic to play in your living room in your underwear with your coffee, but it's different in front of people. It just is, right?
It's not even close. Yeah.
Clem has some kind of doctorate for that. Like he's Dr. Clem Burke now.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what exactly that is, but he was part of this experiment essentially, and they gave him this thing, which is crazy. I love Clem. He's one of the best.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
This is why I'm retired, because I can't hang anymore. I'm out of shape. So I'm the bass player.
Fitz is one of the guys that when I talk about that, he's one of the guys that doesn't seem to have that issue. He will not play drums for a long time and then just sit down and play drums and it's like nothing has been missed. I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Well, I will say that, when we got to get back with Slash and rehearsals in LA, I was a little out of shape. I mean, admittedly so. I just felt, like those first couple days, because we don't get to ease in with Slash. It's like, okay, hi guys.
Yeah, you hit the ground running.
8 hours of playing music all day long. And I literally fell into my hotel room every night going, I'm just beaten up. And then we went to record and I realized that if it wasn't for the little bit of, pre-pro, I would have been in deep. You just can't do that, especially getting older. Drummers just can't, I never used to warm up, Joe. In those club days in Winnipeg, you know what warming up was? It was a beverage. And it was like, okay, guys, let's go.
Let's go.
Now it's like, no, you need to warm up. And it's cool. When Corey came out on the Slash run, Corey, when you were in Europe with us, and you got me on that breathing thing, I've never not done it. And he should tell you what it is, because it's this cool thing to get your whole body ready for the gig. Yeah. And it's a breathing thing. And it's good for drummers. Great. Really awesome.
It's great. It clears your head.
What's his name again?
His name's Wim Hof. Or
I was just going to say that. Yeah. I was just
Wim Hof?
The Iceman,
Yeah.
Really so heavy breathing.
It's really, you can get, look at anybody who doesn't know what he is, just look him up on YouTube. He's a really kind of a superhero, and there's no, from what I can tell, there's no woo-woo stuff in it. It's all legit, because he actually does it. He packs himself on ice for 90 minutes and his body temperature doesn't change,
Right.
Of course, guys like David Blaine sort of do the same thing, and that is all magic and art and tricks. But but he's got an app out. You can just download the app and it teaches you the breathing, and the breathing's really great. It's basically just hyperventilating techniques, which makes your whole body tingle, your fingertips tingle, wakes you up, makes you very alert. And I do it before shows too, and I think it's great.
It helped me a lot.
That's great. I should do that before a show. But you're right. It's actually I had my girlfriend sit next to me, so I'm like, you might want to just be next to me just in case I pass out, because it's hardcore. Everything was tingling.
Mandy there right now?
Yeah.
No.
Say hi to Mandy.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah, people have passed out, and for sure. It's great, and I've actually done the exercise where you do the push-ups after you do it, and you can squeeze out 10, 20 more push-ups after you're done with the breathing exercises.
Really?
So if you want to use it as a jogger or hiking or or just playing drums, it just oxygenates your blood.
I gotta
make you high on your own supply. That's what he says.
I gotta add that to my.
Is there a YouTube link or something we could send to the fine folks to check out something like that? Probably is, I'm sure. Wim
so just go into your app store or whatever and type in Wim Hof. I think you should come out. It's a free app. Of course, there's upgrades.
Is he Norwegian or something? What or Swedish? What was his?
He's from Holland. Yeah,
Holland.
He's from the nether regions.
Right.
The Netherlands. And I think he learned some kind of Buddhist, those Buddhists that will get all soaking wet, and then they'll go out in the cold mountains, and then they'll actually evaporate all the blankets that they're wearing, and they come out of the meditation completely dry and not covered in ice. Yeah.
I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, I forget. It's called. It starts with a T, I think. certain kind of meditation, but I think
Which
he
one are
learned
we
that, and that's what he
talking
does.
about? There's the
What?
Todd's locking up.
Oh, sorry. It's the
I think
there's the breath work breathing, and then there's the Wim Hof method. I don't know which one you're.
Yeah, Wim Hof method. It's probably the same thing, but
That's
yeah,
what it
that's
is?
the one I have. The Wim Hof method. The Hof.
Neat.
The other Hof.
I'm gonna download it. There you
Well,
go.
how was Sebastian Bach the other night? I saw your photo with Todd. How was
Dude?
How was the Canadian hand?
The best thing about it was that Sebastian showed up in a Mr. Dress Up T-shirt.
I love that.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, we need that. No way.
He was
fantastic.
He knew he was coming to hang out with the Canadian.
Todd's like, "Hey, man, have you met Sebastian yet?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." He's like, "Well, come over, let me." So he brings me over, and he's like, "Hey, this is Joe from Theory of a Deadman," and Hal Sparks was there, and Hal's like, "Oh, dude, man, I know you guys." And he goes, "Yeah, he's a fellow Canadian," and he just takes his jacket and does this, and it's this Mr. Dress Up, and with this, like, with all the, I was like, that's, and he's like, "I don't even know, you're probably not even old enough to know this." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I grew up watching Mr. Dress Up. This is so Canadian right now. This is amazing."
Casey and Finnegan.
Yeah.
And Bird.
Totally.
I did stump him though. I was like, "What was Mr. Dress Up's real name?" He didn't know that. I was, I don't know. Or I think he's tried to guess the name. It was Ernie Coombs was his real name.
Ernie
Coombs. That a long
Coombs.
time, unfortunately. Yeah, he was kind of the Canadian Mr. Rogers. Does anybody want to take it any further than that?
Yeah, that's
No, I'd say that's
pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sebastian was
There's
there
a big-
because he lives in Vegas now, right?
He's in Vegas.
Yeah, he's like,
Do
"I
you
just
guys-
moved here."
Do you guys know Hal
That's great.
Sparks? Hal Sparks, he's an actor and he's a podcaster now, a comedian. He's been around for years. He's in all kinds of stuff. He's a really good dude. He lives here. Well, as you know, a lot of people live in Vegas now. Phil Susan and that whole gang came back. You know, like it was just a giant hang. Yeah.
What were you going to say, Corey?
I forget.
Corey.
Something about Sebastian's shirt, Mr. Dress Up, perhaps. And then he went into, of course, we went to a gigantic rabbit hole, singing the tune from The Friendly Giant, and
Totally. No, I was going to say
Canadian
then the controversy came out about Mr. Dress Up smoking pot. Remember that?
What?
Did
he
like,
No, I
what?
didn't know that.
Exactly. What?
I feel like I remember this at some
Yeah.
point, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's awesome."
Yeah.
Have you watched the Bob Ross documentary yet?
Yes. Yes.
It's a bit
How
tragic.
sad, eh?
Yeah, it's very tragic, unfortunately. But it, you kind
That's
of
frozen again.
You kind of forget
And
how
he's
wonderful
gone.
he was.
Oh, he's back.
Oh my!
Yeah, that was totally sad, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a bummer.
I still haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, Jennifer
about
Lee,
the,
Jennifer Lee Levine has brought up, "I miss Rusty the Rooster from The Friendly Giant." Very well. Very
Ah,
good. And Jerome the Giraffe. There was also Jerome the Giraffe.
Wow.
And there were cats
Rusty
and
ripped
raccoons
Tommy
that would
the
come
Clown.
around to jam once in a while, if you remember that.
he sounds like, yeah,
anyone got a
Amazing.
piccolo flute?
Yeah.
totally.
But there was
And,
always
what's his preamble? He talks about moving a chair and
Yeah.
the
Now look up, look way up,
and I'll
was
call it
that
Rusty.
dude's
That's
name?
what it was. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
and I'll call Rusty.
Amazing.
Times.
Was that an all across Canada show? I don't remember, but I mean, I saw it in Winnipeg. That's all I remember.
That's all I knew.
Yeah.
It must have been. He must have. I think he was like. It was like Fred Penner, and then Mr. Dress Up, right?
Fred Penner. That's
And
more
then
new school
Sesame
than,
Street.
yeah.
And then the
Sesame
polka dot
Street.
door came a bit later, and
Polka dot door. Yeah, those are all Canadian shows.
Romper Room.
And then that animated Wizard of Oz that was so crazy. That's probably.
Yeah.
That's,
And how
I
about
think
this
that-
one? Hey Herc, hey Herc, hey Herc. Remember Hercules?
Best show at lunch hour between. Oh yeah, loved
Hercules, yeah.
Hey Herc, hey Herc.
There was also Rocket Robin Hood.
Oh
Who's
yeah.
Yeah.
big
Oh,
and
yeah.
deep now, yeah.
We're going back.
We're going
What
way
about
back.
G-Force? You guys remember G-Force?
I do remember G-Force. That was a Japanese
Sounds
thing. That
familiar.
was
Yeah.
It was an anime thing that was made to be slightly. they just kind of Americanized it or whatever, or Canadianized or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Battle of the Planets was what the actual name of G-Force was. The full name was Battle for the Planets.
Oh, that's right.
Planets, yeah. And G-Force was the name.
Transmute.
Is all this on YouTube? I haven't gone down the rabbit hole.
All on YouTube.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick and Pick, the mice. Remember them in the hot air balloon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You keep forgetting that
Nick, Pick.
Joe's a lot younger than us, so he probably has more news.
I know, he doesn't know.
Some of this I'm not ringing a bell. Some.
But Mr. Dress Up, by God, you knew. Oh, there was my favorite is Billy Van, Haunted House of Frankenstein.
That's, yeah.
Hilarious.
Hilarious House of Frankenstein. Yeah. There is a museum in Hamilton, Ontario, for Billy Van.
And speaking of Hamilton,
right? Hamilton. That's where it's created and filmed in Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Early 70s in Hamilton.
Cool.
And there's also, I love coffee. There's a place called Deadly Grounds, and it's literally a lot of their themed coffees and stuff is all based around characters from Hilarious House of Frankenstein. Is that not the freaking coolest? Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Wow. Yeah. What did Michelle say?
These guys got it right. Hey, Herc. It was Newton. Newton was the what do they call those? A minotaur or something like that? Or like half goat, half man.
Yeah,
was Daedalus who was Daedalus? Is that the bad guy?
He was a bad guy, yeah. So
and then this one.
Astro Boy. Love that.
Was an anime thing.
Hey, Johnny.
That was an anime thing
nice.
as well, yeah.
That was a good
how
one.
about the Little Prince?
That was definitely
the Little Prince.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar too.
Yeah.
Romper Room. Oh God. Remember Romper Room? That's before Joe's time. He was too young.
Romper Room, that's one too.
Yeah.
I think so.
There it is.
We'll get it before the end of the show.
That out for us.
We get shut down because we're like copyright infringement.
We should do a Toque talk with all those like theme songs from all those crazy Canadian shows.
Totally.
Cool. That would be awesome.
Hercules, hero of song and story.
Well, isn't like children's songs past a certain date free? They're not.
They might be like universal. What do they call that?
Because we were able to use that on our Truth Is record.
Oh,
right. Was that Cat Came Back?
Yes, the cat came back the very next day, and that was free. I think it was no issues.
Okay.
Our song is called "The Bitch Came Back," and Tyler just used the melody of "Cat Came Back."
That's right.
And they're classic.
Public domain.
I remember Tyler did play it for me when it was, before you guys had released it, and he actually asked me. He goes, "Hey, this melody?" I go, "I love that." It reminded me, but I wasn't for sure. I was like, I think it sounds kind of a little bit like that. The cat came back. So
yeah, it's a nursery rhyme, right?
Mm-hmm. Kind of, yeah. Some kind of like children's kind of song or whatever.
What about the Beatles? Yeah. The White Album is all nursery rhyme melodies. It works. It definitely works.
Totally.
Hercules was my favorite. Oh, He-Man. Oh, yeah.
He-Man. Remember He-Man? Skeletor.
There's a new He-Man on Netflix. A new series on Netflix
really?
right now. Yeah. Animated.
Is it cartoon or live action?
Animated. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
my brothers were into that. They had all the action figures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The younger guys all had that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Joe,
it's been fun.
Well, Joe, I think we've kept you long enough, and but let's keep in touch. So, you're home until when? When are there dates coming up or no?
I'm home until the end of October.
Okay, and then what?
And then that's when the tour starts back up, if it happens.
There you go.
Okay.
I hope by then.
With that, maybe we'll see you on the road.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you out there. Are you going? Is it potentially Canada or would it be U.S.?
It's all U.S. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Oh wow.
We're thinking Canada next year. What's that?
Okay. We won't see you then. We're not that big in the States. Yet.
I'm going to see Joe at Mothership Coffee next week. That's what we're doing.
Let's do that.
Oh, really?
Todd, yeah, we'll just do Mothership.
What shirt is that?
We should open for Theory.
What shirt are you wearing, Fitz?
I'm wearing Journey. I'm going to go see my friends play in a Journey band tonight, so I thought I got to represent.
Cool.
I'm going to see Paul McNair, the singer from Streetheart, who is your friend too,
wow.
and Todd's.
Where are they playing?
Hi.
I'm going to a charity for Never Alone Foundation, which you guys know because Darren Steen has been very involved in. And I'm going to go see a live band, so I'm going to go support it. So we're going out tonight.
That's great.
All right.
Are they playing somewhere of note, like somewhere that we would know, or like is it just kind
I'm not sure where it is, but it's definitely a charity with a live band with some friends of mine. So I'm excited to go and support it tonight. So
great. We'll say hi to Paul for us. Is it Paul? Do we know anybody else in the band? Paul and
Steve Broadhurst, a lot of the Winnipeg,
really
guys that Joe and I know. Yeah, Broadhurst will be there.
Please.
What's the message for Broadhurst from you, Joe?
I can't say it online. It's not.
Exactly. Yeah.
If anybody knows Steve Broadhurst, they know why I can't say anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but he's one of our favorite drummers, so it'll be good to see him.
Just tell him I said hi.
I will.
Awesome, lads. Well, Joe, you are a pleasure, a delight, and I'm sure we'll see you at a coffee shop, before you, like 100 times before you ever go on tour again. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
But let's reconvene for a coffee next week. Mothership, Grouchy John's. What's the plan?
Yeah, Mothership's the winner these days. It's got the good hangout doors. We're keeping our
Which
outdoors
one,
protocol.
I don't want to give it away too much, but yeah, okay, because there's a number of locations. We'll figure out the location.
I can go anywhere. You just tell me, I'll be there. Just send me a text at a time, and I'll be there.
Done and done.
Joe's buying. He's got all the hit records, all the plaques on his wall. He's buying coffee.
He's buying.
That's
right. You can't have those on the wall.
On this guy.
Coffee's on Joe.
That's what happens when you put those things up. You gotta buy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Shoot. I shouldn't have.
Darn it.
Shoot. Right on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh man, our pleasure.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for everybody for joining in today, and that was really fun.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody back next week. We have on deck Rob Pruce, keyboard player from Spoons and Honeymoon Suite.
That's correct.
See everybody next week on Toque.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Joe. Bye, guys.
Talk Tuesday. Toque rocks.
And
Merv. That's the only reason I tune into this damn thing, because I was going to get a Merv viewing. That's awesome.
I hit the end broadcast button and it says an error occurred, so I guess we're just going to keep
going. Yeah, we just can't. You could check out, but you can never leave.
Try this again.
That's funny.
We'll all wander off and still be like televised.
I don't know how to end this, actually.
You probably have to shut your computer off or something. I don't know.
That'll only remove me from the feed.
Then we'll still be here.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. This is very strange. It says, wait a moment, then try again.
Wait a moment, then try again. Great. That's terrifying.
Oh dear.
I'll totally forget about it, then open up my computer later on. Hair and curlers or something.
Hey, Joe, what's the pizza joint? I've had the pizza in Stonewall. That place rules. What's that spot?
Pizza Den, my favorite.
Yeah.
Pizza Den.
I think I'm going to hit it this week while I'm back in the motherland.
Well, if you're in Stonewall, do me a favor. If you're gonna Pizza Den, I'm so jealous. And if you end up going to the Rock, my cousin Jay, he owns the Rock now. He bought it, so it's back in the family. So make sure and say hi to Jay if you see him there.
Okay.
Ooh, wow, that's so awesome.
I will do that.
Fantastic.
Well, if I
really
don't, you'll
know
know
how to
it's just
stop it.
because I've been doing a million other things around town. It's hard to be home. I'm here looking after my folks, but geez, it's like, there's always other 20 different things going on. So.
That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes.
So
Good
funny,
problem to have. Good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have, exactly. You got to sneak up there and not let anybody know you're there. You just got to kind of...
Don't say anything.
Yeah, just kind of like don't answer your text, don't answer your phone.
I think we're going to have a gig up here soon, too. We might as well put that out there. We're working on that.
Plan. We're working on that for sure, yeah.
That sounds like fun. I hope I'm available to delete you there and watch.